Okay, I just sorry for the disturbance. Yes. Whatever. Where are we? We are talking about the producer and what are the producer role in films. Yes. So, by this definition, a producer is a person who oversees the film production, either employed by production company or working independently as a producer. Producer plan and coordinate with the various aspects of the film production, such as selecting a script, coordinating writing, directing and editing, and arranging finance. Most of the thing I'm telling you, producer has a really main job is that arranging a fund or maintaining a proper budget or continuously maintaining the money supply for this film production. That is most important thing, and producer has that kind of like a organizing things. So that is the main work. What is the difference between executive producer and a producer? The executive producer is at the top of the producer hierarchy. The producer answers to the executive producer about the film budget. The executive producer does not get involved with the day-to-day production like producer does. What is executive producer? Yeah, executive producer is really much bigger than the producer, but actually the main money is from the producer. So actually he is the main boss. But most of the time, producer has kind of like some sort of telling things about am I doing wrong or am I doing right? It is kind of like a really good for me for this production, or is this kind of like a business stuff, or is this kind of like a profitable business? So he is telling and he is collecting some sort of suggestion from other producer. Okay. And these other producer are kind of like telling things about the story and script, and he's telling his experience about these stories and what will gonna happen, or is it happen good, or is it happen bad, or what should we do about this story. Is it so? It's just like executive is a main boss, is a producer, yes, definitely, but producer is taking some sort of suggestion from his experienced producer, and those producers are called executive producer. Obviously, executive producer kind of like a producer is giving money to give them a particular advice on the particular film sets, because there are so many things happen during the film, and some sort of issues happen with the director and writer, and some sort of things that the producer needs to be handled for this. And the executive producer is kind of like a really experienced. Yeah, as a producer, he is also experienced, but as an executive producer is kind of like a really much bigger experience about how is the market, how is the box office, and how it will be really much better for the film and everything. So as the executive producer, he knows that thing. Okay. Then we are talking about the director. A film director controls the film aesthetic, dramatic aspect, visualize the screenplay while guiding the technical crew and actual fulfillment of the vision. The director has a key role in choosing the cast member, production design, all the creative aspect of filmmaking. Director also work with the individual in charge of lighting, screenplay, scenery, and makeup. Make sure that all the element is comes together in proper period of time. So most of we definitely know about the director. Director is the captain of the ship, definitely, because he knows everything. As a director, he needs to know about every aspect of the filmmaking. But besides the filmmaking, he doesn't need to know about those things like how we distribute, how we think is gonna happen. This kind of job has to be producer job. It's not a director job. Director job has to make a really proper film, like make a film that it's written on the page, and which can visualize the things exactly like that paper, exactly like that word say that particular tell about that story. So he has his own job. He as a director, he used to know about every aspects of the film, like acting. Yes, really important. While because in the end, people saw actors acting. So basically, how as a director, how does he guide to the actors, and does he elaborate properly? Does he elaborate proper emotions to the scene? It is really important. Most important, he used to know about the filmmaking technique. He used to know about the camera, what camera you use, what camera lens you use, what camera you use, what is the camera rig you do need to use, what is the main impact while watching this film, what is the impact of that thing. He used to know about all those things. Also, there is some sort of thing about, like, he used to know about the makeups. Yeah, he used to know about what the character looks like. He doesn't need to know, he doesn't need to do some sort of thing, he doesn't need to do changing a lens or anything. No, he just giving the order, like, I want this lens, I want this makeup, or I want this costume, or I want this kind of scene. It is all depend upon him. So he needs to know about all those things, because in the end he was telling, because he is the captain of the ship. Okay, so basically a director needs to know about everything. Okay, so basically, how does we know this is the kind of like a good director? Basically, as a director, as it comes with as a first time director doesn't do something like that, but doesn't, any producer doesn't give a really high amount of money to invest such a kind of thing. But once he has a talent, then he will definitely. Okay, but while starting as a direction, he used to direct with a small budget film, and then suddenly increment as a higher budget film and get experience about how these things happen. Okay. Then we are talking about the first assistant director. Who are those? The role of the assistant director is on the film include the tracking daily progress against the film production schedule, arranging logistic, preparing daily call sheet, creating cast, crew, and maintaining the order of the set. They also must take care of health and safety of the crew. There are the many more assistant director. They are not a first or second director. Yes, some people, some project has kind of like a 2 or 3 assistant director. If you have a really high budget, then it will be like a 5 to 10 people, and you have a really big budget, so mostly it will be like 10 to 12 people. Okay, so assistant director is kind of like a telling things to the director. They are working under the director, and they are giving the information to the crew and director. Yeah, because director cannot handle, because when you are talking about the filming, there are so many people involved in there, like a lightman, cameraman, so many people. Yeah. As one director, you cannot handle anything. Like if you are a director and there are minimal, like your DOP says, is this camera good, and then you are focusing the camera, and then there is makeup artist come and he say, is this makeup is good? So you cannot tell that. You are kind of like a switching from one to another, because director has to know everything. But all those things happen, all those information, it just quickly came into him, and he doesn't get, he just like a blindly happen after that situation. So basically he put those assistants will take care of these. Those assistants, like when the assistant is about the camera, so that assistant, he has a really got information about how is this shot gonna take. Okay, so he will check it. Okay, he will analyze it, and then he will tell this thing to the director, and it's really good, and director say okay, and let's shoot it. Okay, so as a director he cannot handle anything. Okay, so he put assistant for his support, and those assistants will really help you to make even better film. Then we are talking about the screenwriter. Screenwriter write the screenplay of the film, TV, that develop the character, write dialogue, and plot the action. They write logline, craft, treatment, outline, script, and write the full screenplay. Something they work with the screenwriting partner as part of the several writer in the TV writer's room. We definitely talk about the writer and who is the writer. Writer can write the screenplay, story, and dialogues, so he is called the writer. Yeah. Sometimes he has also assistant, but actually very less people will work with him. Yeah, because of that, writing is kind of like a creative stuff, and creative doesn't. It's kind of like he is doing because creative things happens not with the team. Yeah, sometimes it happens with the team, but kind of writing is kind of things like you are telling things about the story, and some people don't really understand your thinking and thought process, so it's kind of like a really difficult to work with it. So it just like it's all depend upon you. If you have a project is kind of like a much bigger, then obviously you do need a multiple writer to tell your story. But most oftenly in India properly, there are the writer and they are independently work, and it's really good. Okay. Then we are talking about the director of photography. Director of photography are responsible for the photographic art production. They read screenplay, work closely with the director to discuss the look and feel of the film. The DP control the everything that affect what the camera is able to capture. The director of the photography is head of the camera and lighting crew to set select the camera lens and filters used to shot. Director of photography is also really important as the director of the camera. Yeah, he doesn't handle the camera, but he in junior he's kind of like a camera operator will handle the camera, but basically he decides the shot, like what shot we are taking. Is this kind of like a low high or mid shot, low jump, or long shot, or establish anything. He has to be decide and maintaining the proper gear, and he used to know about every aspects of the films, and he also um, uh, he used to know about the script also, and he used to know about what is the emotion that story is elaborate to us. So as a director of photography, he's kind of like knowing things like what lighting should you use for that scene. So yes. Then we are talking about the digital image technician. Digital image technician DIT help the director of photography with the digital know-how of the camera. They also advise the camera crew of the shot in progress, repeating any soft focus, filming issues, or unwanted reflection. And shadow, they do quality control, check, and produce the material. What is actually this technician? This technician is kind of like a setting up the camera. Okay, and there are the multiple camera has a many feature which is gradually changes and is gradually updated time by time. Okay, as a director of photography, he used to know about those things, but sometimes as a director of photography is kind of like this thing doesn't know about. Okay, so those are the technician will really help you, because if you are handling really high end machine, those are the camera is really expensive. Okay, so basically just like DOP don't know about those things sometimes. Okay, sometimes, yeah, most of the time DOP know everything about, but sometimes DOP doesn't know about some sort of camera. So basically having a technician, they are telling you about the focus and manual focus, and how we shoot it, and what gonna happen with it. So having a technician, it's really good. Then we are talking about the camera operator. A camera operator is an employee of the film production company, video production house, and television and cable companies capture the footage of the TV shows, motion picture, music video, documentary, news, and shooting event. They need to excellent visual skills and eye-hand condition, the ability to pay the attention to the details, and also essential the camera operator and collab with the producer and director, making the superb listening and sharpening skill is necessary. As a camera operator, you do really understand what is his do. Camera operator is operate the camera, yeah, and there is nothing to tell about this thing. This camera operator is operate the camera, yeah, and operating camera is not a really joke. There are so many things we do need to understand, like a framing, and there is another guy is doing focus pulling, so we don't really take care of the focus because other guys take care of it. So as a camera operator, he does need to know about framing and composition, and always be maintaining that composition to the frame, and it is really essential for this thing. So he handles those things. So yes. Then we are talking about first camera, assistant camera. Okay, so there are the multiple. So at the focus puller, the first assistant camera and the member of the film crew member department who is primarily responsible to maintain the camera, lens, optical focus on whatever the subject on the action is belongs to the film. As a first assistant camera, there are the multiple camera used in the film. Yes, they are not one single camera, because some shot has to be done with the multiple camera shot. Like two people are talking, and we cannot switch between camera from one person to another person every single time. So we do need to put two different camera for two different person, and after that shot. So there are the multiple camera. That means you need a multiple operator. So obviously there are the multiple assistants also. There are also called a focus puller. Yeah, he gradually maintaining the focus and maintaining the sharp focus on the particular subject, or shallow depth of field between the subject and background. So he will always maintain. So that person called focus puller, and focus puller is also really essential. Then we are talking about the lighting director. Yeah. A lighting director, also known as a lighting designer, work as a theater production, including the darkness and play, the create and managing the aspects of light of production. Lighting director works with the artistic and production staff through the support of the director plans of the production. Lighting director is kind of like a well known about the lighting, how lighting will done, but actually he was telling things to the DOP, but not just did by himself. He has to take a permission whatever he do, because as a lighting director he is kind of like a below than DOP. Lighting director used to maintain the light. Is it really good? Is it really bad? Or it's something we do need to change? Okay. Changing a lighting, setting things about the lighting, and it just light is so much creepy stuff, because you have a really big source of light, which is kind of like you are using diffusion, and then you are using black paper, and then you are using so many things. Okay, so lighting has a really another department. So having a director of it will really help you, because it's kind of like a really big lights on that film. So yes, now we are talking about the gaffer. What is exactly gaffer? The gaffer is responsible for managing the lighting, include the associated with the responsible such as the labor, lighting, instrument, and electrical equipment under the direction of the director of the photography. Usually a gaffer is used. Gaffer is really important for setting up the light, but under the lighting director, he used to maintain the proper equipment of light, taking care of it. Probably fixing things happens with the light. Usually it happens every time. Okay, and gaffer needs to maintain so many lights, because in the shot there are so many lights are used, like key light, field light, backlight, and we are not talking about a one or two light. There are the multiple lights on the set, so he needs to manage all those things. And so basically he has a really big things to work with the light. So that person called gaffer. Then we are talking about the key grip. Key grip works for the director of the photography, supervise the crew grip, responsible for the camera equipment, accessories for anything associated with the camera operation, movement, as well as anything that cut or diffuse the lamp set up by the gaffer crew. Usually a key grapher is a kind of like the, sometimes camera has a really big accessory like a gimbal or jimmy jib or a crane, or sometime like a cable. So those are the grips. Is kind of like a really complicated to manage, complicated to set up, and it is sometimes camera is big heavy, and sometimes it's like we are taking about the all, because the shot is kind of like a really complicated. Like we need to shot about the some car is chasing another car. So how do we shot those things? Obviously we need to move, so we need to set up camera in another car, and that car usually moving. So it's just like we are kind of like a creating shot that moving actually, and which is also been really stable, and your camera is bit really heavy, so you are using some sort of grip or anything. So those are the people, those are the technician who handle those camera and take care of these shots has to be done really properly. So those people are called key grip. Okay. Then we are talking about the audio technician. In charge of the insurance of the sound is corrected during the film, and that the level of and mix are all corrected. An audio technician is responsible for setting up the sound and recording and equipment, adjusting, testing and the equipment, and assisting with the recording and sound. Usually a sound technician is usually record the sound, because camera doesn't record the sound. Camera is like a camera doesn't like this phone is record the visual and sound at the same time. But most of the cinema camera doesn't have a built-in recorder. So basically he has like a just slot, and you just put the slot and put in the mic to another. And audio technician is well maintained. He used to record the visuals, sound, and also record the ambient sound of the shot, and he's used to know about what sound quality is really good or really bad. He used to know about everything. So having a audio technician is really important, because audio is a half of the sound, half of the viewing experience. So we do need to get understand about this thing. Then we are talking about the set designer. A set designer oversees the designing, creating a set that appear a film, a television program, as well as theater. The role involves working with the communication with the director of photography, costume designer, and other member of staff. Sometimes it's kind of like a believable things happen, and believable things happen when your visuals are kind of like a really relate with that person, relate with that environment. Like if you are telling a story about the another planet, so we do need to imagine that how the another planet looks like that. This is kind of like something really terrible situation happens. So how do we manage the set? How do we saw the another planet looks like that? Like we are going to the Mars. So Mars is kind of like a really red planet. So everything needs to be red, and soil is to be red, and dirt needs to be red. So it's just like setting up all those things. So we are not just building whole planet. No, we are building some sort of part of that section, that actor and everyone works together. And it's just like believable moments happen when you are watching on the television or screen. Okay, so building those setup is really important. Okay, then we are talking about the costume designer. Costume design is a plan to create the maintain clothing and achieve accessory for all this character in the stage, film, television, dance, opera production. Design costume fit each character and either create a new garment of all the existing costume. Designs may also be known as a theatrical design. Usually as a costume designer is kind of like a really important job as to telling a story, like is this character belongs to what environment. Like we are talking about the astronaut is kind of like a going from ground to space, so it needs to wear some sort of 3-piece of suit. So if that astronaut wear 3-piece of suit and going to the space, so we don't really believe that stuff. It's kind of like a things like ye to kuch bhi bol raha hai. So basically it's kind of like a really important to believe that things actually happen over there while watching a film. So if the person is going to the space, so basically that person required a space suit. Okay, and that is really essential that people believe that factor is actually happen on the film. Makeup artist. Special effects makeup artists will spend much of their time using the cosmetic and appliances to create the appearance of the brushes, cut, blood, old age, deformities, and monuments. Add more. This specialist artist is in charge with the creating monster using the makeup and prosthetic, often made of latex and silicone and rubber. Usually makeup artist is make up your subject. It's really essential, but sometimes subject is kind of like a really difficult to do that. Like if you are thinking there are the alien coming to our planet, so basically how we visualize the alien, so alien has to be look like that thing. So how we put a person on that particular costume, so there are the makeup artists did something really creepy or amazing stuff with your face, and they exactly look like your monster or your alien or you are something else. So having a makeup artist is really good. It will kind of like a feels that you are something, that person, that but most oftenly as a makeup is not that kind of like a things is like being such a monster. It's kind of like a really huge level of makeup stuff. but sometimes most stuff only as a subject needs to be look good. So at that particular stage, as a makeup artist was there, and he already touch up your actor, and he's really good. Okay, sometimes on the set it's kind of like a really hot and your actor is kind of like a really sweaty, so he needs to be comfortable because he used to face a camera, and that is most essential thing in the end. Our people are looking at him. So basically, as an actor needs to be look good, so as a makeup artist are always be available on their set. Then we are talking about the VFX supervisor. In general, a VFX supervisor is a responsibility of achieving or creating aims of the director, of the producer. They sit to the producer, develop the visual, help to the support and story and the vision. This is the visual medium, so they help to set the tone, build the world. Visual effects compress the everything from the artificial weather and environments like rain, fog, smoke, other atmospheric aspects to mechanical and electrical effect. Usually sometimes it is really difficult to depend on the natural things, because if your story is telling about the things like a storm has happened and how then we cannot wait for the storm and then we shoot. It's kind of like a really difficult to make such a film for depending on the natural weather. So basically, if you want some sort of rain or if you want some sort of storm, then you are adding up some sort of visual effects. That visual effects are happening after the shooting, and the VFX supervisor is telling things like we can do like this, we can do like those. Yeah, but VFX supervisor has to be detailed and really sharp, and they has to work with a tiny bit, because easily people will recognize that this is kind of like a VFX. Yeah, people don't really like that if this kind of like a really fake shot. Yeah, people need to believe those stuff. Yeah, so all those things having a VFX is really good. Like if you're watching an end game and there are things like a Hulk face is kind of look like a Mark Ruffalo. That is because of that the visual graphics did something really incredible work on that Mark Ruffalo face, and they exactly look like Mark Ruffalo on the Hulk, which is kind of like looks really good. If you are watching another before Hulk faces, it's kind of like a really difficult to manage, like this is Hulk and the actual character and the Hulk looks like really different. But during the technology change, and we can say the VFX graphic supervisor is kind of like upgrading themselves, and they are doing something really insane job. Right now we are seeing something Hollywood film VFX graphics is really way much better, like Iron Man. He's kind of like a really iron armor, and they are it's not really it's not actually happening over there, and it's kind of like doing something and things it's not gonna happen in reality, but we are seeing this kind of like a power of Iron Man. So that is because of this VFX supervisor, and VFX supervisor did something really high-end graphics with this software, and he's really amazing with his work. So as a VFX supervisor, he if you have a story that includes a VFX, then you should make contact with the VFX supervisor. Okay. Then we are talking about the editor. A film editor combines the film footage together to make a movie. Film editor is the mechanics who remove the unneeded and fits the pieces of film together to make the finished movie. He is collaborating with the work with cinematographer, sound editor to bright sight of the sound and together. Usually editor has to edit the film. Yeah, we are not talking about so many things like he used to know about all those editing aspects and editing software, and he needs to contact with the director and DOP and producer also, because the main thing happened on the editing table. So basically, as the editor is really important, where to cut, where to not cut. He used to know about J cut, L cut, transitions, and where you used to cut. It's really important for the film editor. So as a film editor is kind of like a really important factor for him. Then we are talking about the colorist. What is a colorist? A various attribute of image such as the contrast, color situation, details, black levels and white points are also enhanced the stage of the colorist with the direction of input. Usually colorist is kind of like a color grading your clip. Okay, what is exactly color grading? Sometimes it's just like a story has a really proper mood, like if you have a story is kind of like a really horror, so you just need to put color grading with really dark and some sort of things. If you have a story is kind of like a funny and comedy, then you need to brighten up everything according to light and camera angle also. If you have a story is kind of like a real action, then you put the color grading something like a blue to orange tone. If you have a story is kind of like a drama, so it's kind of like it's all the emotions has a color. Okay, and you are putting all those colors to tell the information. Like if you watch the Matrix, okay, when the actors went to that program and they are doing some sort of action scenes, all the footages is kind of look like some sort of green on that film. You watch closely, you can easily understand. When the people come out to that program, to the reality world looks like really natural, looks like something really blue, but when they are in that program, they are kind of like a green. Okay, so how the green is kind of like where it come from? The green is actually color for the coding language. Usually there are the binary numbers which are actually looks like a green, something like a 0101 format. It's kind of like some sort of green. So that green is really representing this is the program. Okay, and they are actually in the program and they are doing whatever they are in the program. So basically director wants to, as a colorist, wants to say that this greens belongs to these things happened in the program, and another that green like a blue and some sort of yellowish orange tone, it's kind of like a look happened to the reality world. Okay, if you want the matrix closely, you can easily understand those things. Then we are talking about the casting director. Who is the casting director? Casting director and the film star brings to the character in a film or TV drama to life. They are hired by the production company to match actor roles. Casting director read a script, made the producer and director to get scene of the type of the person they are looking for. As a casting director, he used to know about what the script required for this particular person, and is this particular person is kind of like a fit for this role. So it is really much important. Sometimes choosing a right candidate is really important because no one has a knowledge of that. As a casting director, he has a knowledge of, he knows about that particular script, like this is the script belongs to that particular person. Like as a Captain America, there are the multiple times there are the Steve Rogers is kind of like a Chris Evans is rejecting that film multiple times, but director and Marvel films and their casting director, they are telling that for this Captain America, Chris Evans is really good. Okay, so as a casting director, they have a knowledge of that particular character, like is this character is fit for this cast. Okay, fit for this character. So basically, as a casting director, he used to know about all those things. Okay, and right now you can see Chris Evans did really amazing job in the Captain America character, and it feels really good. It feels something like it is kind of like a really one of my favorite character in the Marvel films. So it is really best example for the exact character of that exact person. Then we are talking about the distribution. What is exactly distribution? A film distribution is responsible for the marketing of the film. Distribution to the most important link between the producer and theater. Okay, the distribution company determines how many copies print of the film make. The distribution company shows movie and perspective of the buyers. Responsible for the theater, buyer negotiator with the distribution company on which movies they wish to lease on the term of the lease agreement. This is kind of like a in-depth part of the character. There are the multiple people. There are not just like a 10 or 12 people. There are the multiple people that every director has the assistant, 2 or 3 assistant, and there are the camera, and there are the so many people on the production set. Okay, like a distributor, producer, and so many people, like hundred people was there. Okay, and basically it is really complicated to understand who is that person or who is that person. Okay, but once you are going on the set, it's kind of like a really difficult to understand. But if you are going there regularly, then you will definitely know who is that, because it's not include like a dance master, action director, and there are so many director was also there. Okay, and there are the technicians, and there are gaffer, and there are so many people was there. So this is kind of like a limitation, like this is the important person, and if you used to know about those things. Okay, then we are talking about the distribution, and what is exactly distribution happened, and what is the lease agreement, and what is the things, how this movie is actually make to the from the producer to the normal audience, how this film we can see to the theater. It's kind of like something really next level. We do study after sometimes, but right now this is done. Okay, we are recording after afternoon, but right now I'm kind of like really tired. I'm talking really fast because of that key. The sun is really closest to me, and I'm kind of like really sweaty from inside. So yes, but after that we are talking about the distribution and how we'll see the movie on the theater. Okay, so it is the most important part of the film. Just get in touch with it, and it is really important for you and for me and for everything. Okay, so right now this is the end. This is my art. No, it's English session. Yeah, and one thing is that how do you feel my English? Yeah, it's really good. I'm talking really good right now, so it's really nice to me. So just like, yeah, thank you.